Welcome all of you. My name is Dr. Mohammad Fiaz from University of Education, Dijikha campus. Today we will talk about whitefly, which is a major pest of cotton. Whiteflies are also known as Alarididae because they belong to the family Alarididae. They are soft-bodied winged insects closely related to aphids and mealybugs. They can be found in almost any region, but they are so tiny that they are usually camouflaged. Whiteflies are tiny, sap-sucking insects that may become abundant in vegetable and ornamental plantings, especially during warm weather. They excrete sticky honeydew and cause yellowing or death of leaves. Outbreaks often occur when the natural biological control program is disturbed. Management is difficult once populations are high. In this video, we will cover description, life cycle, damage and control of whitefly. Despite their name, whiteflies are not true flies, but they are in the order Hemiptera, related to aphids, scales, and mealybugs. They derive their name from the mealy white wax covering which covers the adult's wings and body. Adults are tiny insects with yellowish bodies and four whitish wings. Although adults of some species have distinctive wing markings, many species are most readily distinguished in the last nymphal stage, which is wingless and lacks visible legs. Depending upon species, whitefly nymphs vary in color from almost transparent yellow or whitish to black with a white fringe. Cotton, sunflower, jute, cauliflower, cabbage, melon, peas, tomato, brinjal, and many other crops are its host. Adult Bemisia are soft and whitish yellow when they first emerge from their nymphal exuvia. Within a few hours, their two pairs of wings become white due to the deposition of a powdery wax. The body remains light yellow with a light dusting of wax. The body of the female measures about 0.96 millimeter from the tip of the vertex to the tip of the abdomen, while the male is somewhat smaller at 0.82 millimeter. Adult whiteflies emerge through a T-shaped slit in the integument of the last nymphal instar. The remaining white transparent shell is called the exuvia. If the exuvia has a round hole in it rather than a slit, an adult parasite emerged. Adults that emerge may simply fly up the same plant or over to another plant. These are called trivial flights. Some individuals, however, are primed for short distance migration of up to several kilometers. Migrating individuals usually develop on plants that are sensing. These migrations can often be massive and can lead to severe infestation of newly planted crops. As far as we know, the sexes do not rely on the pheromones to locate one another. Mating can occur as soon as the whitefly have expanded and hardened their wings, usually within a few hours. Bemisia has parthenogenetic reproduction where virgin females can only lay haploid eggs, which give rise to males. Mated females can produce haploid and diploid eggs. There is usually a pre-oviposition period of less than a day to a few days, depending upon the temperature. The female lands on a plant using visual stimuli such as plant color and walks or flies to the lower surface of the leaf. She tests the suitability of the plant by probing the leaf with her piercing sucking mouthparts and ingesting a small amount of sap. Chemoreceptors at the tip of her mouth parts and within her mouth parts uh, they sense the leaf's chemical composition. If the host plant is deemed acceptable, she will insert her mouth part stylet into the phloem from where she sucks plant sap. While she is feeding, she may lay eggs, often in a semicircular arrangement as she swivels her body around her feeding site. Female longevity can range from 10 to 24 days, and during which time she can lay between 66 and 300 eggs, depending upon the host plant and temperature. Whitefly eggs are oval in shape and somewhat tapered towards the distal end. The broader end has a short stalk, usually about 0.024 millimeter, that is inserted by the oviposition female into the leaf. The egg obtains moisture through this stalk. The egg is approximately 0.21 millimeter in length and 0.096 millimeter in width. The egg is purely white when first laid, but darkens over time. The distal end of the egg becomes dark brown just before the first nymphal instar ecloses. At 25 degrees Celsius, the eggs will hatch in 6 to 7 days. The first instar is capable of limited movement and is called the crawler. It is oval in shape and measures approximately 0.27 millimeter in length and 0.14 millimeter in width. The dorsal surface of the crawler is convex, while the ventral surface appressed to the leaf surface is flat. The crawler has three pairs of well-developed four-segmented legs, three-segmented antennae, and small eyes. It is whitish green in color and has two yellow spots, the mysotomies, which is visible in the abdomen through the integument. The mycetomies house several species of endosymbiotic bacteria that may play an important role in whitefly nutrition. The crawlers usually move only a few centimeters in search of a feeding site but can move to another leaf on the same plant. They initiate feeding um, on the lower surface of a leaf, also feeding in the phloem. After they have begun feeding, they will molt to the second nymphal instar, usually 2 to 3 days after eclosion from the egg. The second, third, and fourth nymphal instars are immobile with atrophied legs and antenna and small eyes. The nymphs secrete a waxy material at the margins of their body that helps adhere them to the leaf surface. Nymphs are flattened and oval in shape, greenish yellow in color, and range from 0.365 millimeter to 0.662 millimeter depending upon the stage. The second and third nymphal instars each last about 2 to 3 days. The red-eyed nymphal stage is sometimes called the pupal stage. There is no molt between the fourth nymphal star and the red-eyed nymphal stage, but there are morphological differences. The fourth and red-eyed nymphal stage combined lasts for 5 to 6 days. The stage gets its name from the prominent red eyes that are much larger than the eyes of the earlier nymphal instars. The red-eyed nymphal stage is also less flattened and more convex in shape. This stage is more yellow than the fourth instar. The red-eyed nymphal stages of Bemisia can be distinguished easily in a mixed infestation. Bemisia can economic damage to plants in several ways. Heavy infestations of adults and their progeny can cause seedling death, a reduction in vigor, and yield of older plants. Whiteflies use their piercing needle-like mouthparts to suck sap from phloem, which is the food-conducting tissues in the plant stems and leaves. Large populations can cause leaves to turn yellow, appear dry, or fall off from the plants. Like aphids, whiteflies excrete a sugary liquid called honeydew, so leaves may be sticky or covered with black sooty mold that grows on the honeydew. The honeydew attracts ants, which interferes with the activities of natural enemies that may control whiteflies and other pests. Feeding by the immature whiteflies uh, can cause plant distortion, discoloration, or silvering of leaves and may cause serious losses in some vegetables and crops. Bemisia vectors several serious plant pathogenic Gemini viruses in Pakistan. Our main concerns are the cotton leaf curl virus. Leaf underside of the leaf is a clear indication of CLCV, along with curling upwards of the leaves. Advice for CLCV includes destroying and disposing of symptomatic plants so that they cannot become the source of inoculum for healthy plants, and managing Bemisia populations with insecticides if necessary. Talking about control, first of all is cultural control. Several cultural methods can reduce Bemisia populations and lessen their impact on crops. One important control method is sanitation. During the growing season, Gemini virus infected plants can be rogued out and destroyed. After harvest, crop residues should be removed so that there is no plant materials for large number of whiteflies to carry over the crop free period. Researchers have had success with the use of barriers to keep Variliferous Bemisia from invading greenhouses. Greenhouses are screened with a very fine mesh plastic screen. Ventilation must be increased, however, to reduce the likelihood of infection by plant pathogens. Whitefly infestations have also been reduced with the use of ultraviolet absorbing greenhouse plastic films. Whiteflies do not enter greenhouses or areas covered with this type of plastics as frequently as they do greenhouses covered in ultraviolet absorbing material. Host plant resistance offers limited hope for the whitefly management. Tomato and bean breeders are attempting to develop varieties with resistance to Gemini viruses, but these varieties are still some time from commercialization. No varieties of host plant have been found to be highly resistant to whitefly themselves. However, some plant factors are not preferred by whiteflies. For example, smooth-leaved varieties of cotton and soybean are less preferred by ovipositing female Bemisia than are hairy-leaved varieties. This holds true for many plant species. Um for example, broccoli, crucifers, collard are less acceptable for oviposition than varieties with a normal wax layer. Bemisia rarely reaches outbreak population levels in natural environments or in agricultural situations where no insecticides are applied. In these situations, natural biological control keeps Bemisia below economically injurious level. Much mortality is caused by minute parasitic wasps, which are also called parasites, in the Aphyllid family. Female parasites lay their eggs inside the whitefly nymph or between the whitefly and the leaf surface, depending upon the genus of wasp. The immature parasites develop within the whitefly host, eventually consuming the entire host except the integument. The immature parasite pupates within the integument of the host, and the adult parasite emerges through a round hole. The most common parasites attacking Bemisia are usually from the two genera Encarsia and Rhatmoceras. Bemisia populations can also be reduced by predation. Many species of insects, mites, and spiders feed on immature and adult whiteflies. Some well-known general predators that prey on whiteflies include Chrysoperlia carnea species, Orius species, and Geocorus species. Several coccinellid species are specialist whitefly predators too. Uh, Under certain climate conditions, usually wet and warm, Bemisia populations can be drastically reduced by natural epizootics of the entomopathogens. Uh, Beauveria, Bimazania, and two fungal pathogens with efficacy against Bemisia and other insects have been commercialized and are available for field and greenhouse application against Bemisia. Whitefly is difficult to control with insecticides for two reasons. Adults and immatures infest the lower surfaces of the leaves, which are difficult to reach with insecticide sprays, and they have developed resistance to many insecticide chemistries. Homeowners should be advised to treat populations before they reach outbreaks levels and to spray immature whiteflies with a mixture of insecticidal soap or insecticide oil in water. Care should be taken to cover the lower surface of the leaves. Most commonly used insecticides are acetamiprid, bifenthrin, cyflothrin, lambda-cyhalothrin, permethrin, and pyrethrin. The soil applied systemic insecticides, imidacloprid, can control whitefly nymphs as well. Imidacloprid can have negative impacts on the natural enemies like honeybee and other pollinators in the crop, especially when applied as a foliar spray or as a soil application to plants that are flowering or soon to be flowering. It can also cause outbreaks of spider mites. Reserve its use for special situations where these problems can be avoided. So, this was all about today's lecture. Hope to see you in the next one. Until then, take care.